I became a published author thanks to a journalism professor I had at UCLA, and he was writing these big, bulky conspiracy thrillers like Robert Ludlum used to write, and my professor would show me his manuscripts, and I'd give him my opinion of the plot and of the sex scenes, and I'd never had anything published yet. I didn't think twice about telling him what I thought was wrong with his plot. I hadn't had sex, but I saw nothing wrong with telling him his sex scenes didn't work for me. And one day his publisher came to him and asked him to write a men's action-adventure series. And they were sort of the male equivalent of the Harlequin romance. They had titles like The Executioner, The Destroyer, The Immolator, The Drooler, The Defecator. They all had ER, OR at the end, and some guy with an enormous gun on the cover with explosions and women with big hooters. And you found them at really fine 7-Elevens and Quick Stops and gas stations across the country. And he told the publisher that he wasn't dumb enough, stupid enough, or desperate enough to write one of these things. But he knew somebody who was. And he recommended me. And I knew Lee Goldberg was not a really grabber of a name, so I came up with the pseudonym Ian Ludlow. So I'd be on the shelf next to Robert Ludlum, who was the best-selling author in America at the time, and Ian for Ian Fleming. So people would go, Ian Ludlow. You know, I think I read something by him. It wasn't bad. And my books, you know, I wanted to do something more than just a men's action-adventure series. I had literary aspirations. So I decided that my hero, who became a vigilante because his father was gunned down on the street, that he would be emotionally affected by the violence he was creating by seeking revenge, that he would be impotent, unable to get it up. So after a day of killing bad guys, he'd go home to make love to his girlfriend and nothing would happen. I thought this was a wonderful twist on the formula. My editor read this and said, "Are you out of your mind? It's a men's action-adventure series. Not only is he having sex, he's having fabulous sex. What's the matter with you? Do you think some guy at a truck stop in Mobile, Alabama wants to read about a guy who can't get it up? Come on." So, okay, fine. So I wrote these sex scenes that were physically impossible, that defied gravity. They were absolutely absurd. The hero would look at a woman and she'd collapse into a coma of orgasms, and positions no human being could possibly pull off unless they broke several bones in their body. I sent these pages in, and my editor read them, and he called me back, and he said, "I've read the new scenes, Lee." I knew what the next line was going to be, "and your contract is canceled." But what he said was, not only were they hot, they were real. And I was so depressed, because if that was real sex, I was the most pitiful lover on earth.